So then, Rally Poland, what an event that was for the WRC. Let's quickly run through the runner's ride, the story of the event, and then pull up any kind of conclusions that I have. So, let's start off with the story of the event, because I didn't do an end of Saturday review this week, so here we go. Oitanak was the fastest out of the blocks. It's unsurprising, he's usually seen as the fast flowing stage maestro. But that run very quickly went to an end. The first stage on Friday, stage 2, he hits a deer at full speed, 200 km per hour, around 120 miles per hour. And that then hands over the lead to Andreas Mikkelsen, runner-up last time we were in Poland, but he was followed closely by debutant Sesks, who was running without a hybrid unit, because they've decided to try out the Rally 1 cars without a hybrid for the first time. And M Sport were like, we'll do that with Sesk so he doesn't have to worry about dealing with the hybrid the first time driving this car, so he can get used to the aero and then get used to the car. I'll talk more about Sesks himself a little bit later on. Rivera took charge later in the day, but overnight it was Mikkelsen who still led, whilst Neville struggled with the road sweeping, which wouldn't get much better on the Saturday as he was still towards the tail end of the Rally 1 runners. However, Carlo Rovanperä then charged to the front over the course of Saturday and, well, took the lead. It was close. Andreas Mikkelsen held on to second, but was confidently in second, clear of Elfyn Evans, still challenging Rovanperä for the lead. Formeau managed to get fourth, and Neville, just about by half a second, was behind Martin Sesks. So he got sixth over Saturday, and Sesks got fifth. But on Sunday, there was a bit of a swap around. Mikkelsen gets a puncher on the first stage, taking out one of the wings on the back of the Hyundai, one of the fenders, the rear right. And that costs him a lot of time, dropping him from 4th to 6th. As Neville passes Sesks, gets into 4th, Sesks hold on to 5th. And Tanak, who had retired from Saturday afternoon, ends up taking 11th to 12th Super Sunday points, with Thierry fastest on the power stage by 1.6 seconds. Rovanperä picks up some good points as well. 3rd on the power stage, 2nd on the Sunday, 1st overall. Formeau himself gets his 3rd podium of the season at expense of Mikkelsen. What that meant is, coming up to the halfway point of the season, he only has 13 points less than Oitanak did at this point last year, with one more podium than the 2019 champion. And given that Formeau is stepping back up to Rally 1 this season, to be that far off of where Tanak was this time last season, given that Tanak won an event in Sweden, that is almightily impressive for Fauci and Formeau. But what is also impressive is, in the rally in which Ford gets 300 consecutive points finishes, a run starting back in Monte Carlo 2002 with Colin McRae and Carlos Sainz, they get all 3 in the top 10, and Sesks gets 5th and a Sunday point. That's amazing, and it's such a ridiculous story of the event, which is almost slightly overshadowed by the F1 stuff, which the review will come out on Monday for that one. And the drama was even there in WRC2, which is a dramatic event all around. Even on the Sunday, the podium changed several times. I mean, Vevej and Lubé ended up dropping out with early punches. Grosjean ended up dropping out at the end with a puncher. Linnemeyer nearly gets a podium. In fact, in the end, it was 6/10 of a second between him and Robert Vevej. Early on, it was Kajtan Kajtanovic who was leading the class, but he hit a bank and was out of the event. A similar fate befell another Skoda, that of Josh McAlean, who was right up at the pointy end, but at the start of Sunday, hits a bank similarly to Mikkelsen into rear right, but he rips it clean off and is out. Some of the Finns performed well. Larryuna, Rupa Korhonen ended up performing quite well, and Mika Marchik ended up dropping off towards the end. Similarly, Gus Greensmith had quite a quiet event, despite being one of the title protagonists, and that covers pretty much all of the top 10. And like I said, they dropped off towards the end. Marchik was 10th, Greensmith, was 9th. But what that means is the halfway point of the WRC2 season, with 4 rounds for each of the top 4. The standings are Russell on 71 still, Pajari on 68, Solberg on 61, and Solans on 48. Grosjean is tied with Solans on 48, however he's already done 3 rounds. That said, Grosjean is running the ERC in Estonia as prep for Liepāja in a couple of weeks, which will be his 4th designated round for the season. And if he wins there, that would put him into the lead. The story in WRC3, it was little trouble for Krakow and M Sport Poland this weekend. The podium was swept by Fiesta Rally 3s. Chatillon in the Renault Clio took 2nd on the opener of the Super Special Stage of Mikołajki, but immediately fell behind the trio of Matulka, Dominguez and Brun, who held on to the top 3 for the rest of the event. Matulka was leading for the majority of the event, and gap stayed relatively the same throughout it. It was only on Saturday afternoon that it started to open up behind Dominguez. So Maturka and Dominguez was separated by about 5 seconds going into Sunday. Brune started to drop off a bit, and Chatillon dropped off even more. However, on the Sunday, the 5-second deficit got turned into a 2.8-second win for Dominguez, with Brune holding on to a comfortable third, which means in the championship, Dominguez is on 75, Chatillon's on 48, Czerny is on 45, Jurgensen's on 43, and Rossi is on 28, with, obviously, JWRC also counting as part of the WRC 3 points. But Dominguez has competed in 5 events, with a retirement in Sweden and 0 points in Croatia, where they doubled up with the JWRC. Chatillon has done 4 events, again 0 points in Sardinia, whilst he's not eligible for JWRC because he's not in a Fiesta. This was just bad luck for him. And Czerny, who retired in Sweden, has also done 4, but Jurgensen, who's only followed with the juniors, has only done 3. So again, it's one of those things of Jurgensen could close up the gap over 2 extra events. From there, it's time to talk about the winners and losers of the event. Obviously, the event winner, Kalle Rovanperä, is a winner. He was called up at the last minute on Tuesday to replace Seb Ogier after he was injured, and honestly, just hope for a speedy recovery for Seb Ogier. We hope to see him back in Liepāja. But yeah, last minute recce's, they had to have extra special measures so that he could do the recce's at a different time to everybody else so he could cover all the stages, and picks up quite a confident win. And it bodes well for Liepāja, which, if you have followed Rovanperä's entire journey, he used to run under the Latvian flag because that was a way that you could get junior drivers more experience at a younger age and at a lower level. Similarly, Oliver Solberg did that and went on to dominate in Liepāja, becoming the youngest ERC event winner, I think the youngest FIA rally event winner as well, back in 2018, wasn't it, that he ended up doing that? But yeah, Rovanperä has never won Liepāja, but is trained in the country, so should be familiar with the kinds of roads. Another winner has got to be Martin Sachs, who was running second overall without hybrid in the very early stage of the event. And he'll also have a similarly good road position in his home round, where he has won the last 3 editions, including a very domineering run. What was it? I think last year and 2 years ago, he was just absolutely rapid there. Adrian Formeau also has to be a winner. His 3rd podium of the season, which means that for my preseason predictions that M Sport would get 3 podiums, he's already done that by the halfway point. He's performing exceptionally well. He's showing why M Sport invested in him so well, and why they did the route of putting him back in the British Rally Championship last season. He's showing an Elfyn Evans level of recovery. And speaking of Elfyn Evans, it was a mixed weekend. He had a good finishing position, but his performance over the course of Sunday, obviously his tyres dropped off towards the end of the day, meant that he didn't capitalise on what would have been a great moment for him. It's a bit similar to the Safari in Kenya. It was a very bad weekend for the Hyundais, but there was barely any inroads made. At the same time, for the Hyundais, he could possibly put them as bits of losers. I wanted to gloss over the Hyundai performances a little bit here, because Mikkelsen was a bit mixed. Neville arguably was a bit of a loser for the course of the weekend. Tanak was the biggest loser over the course of the weekend for the 3 Hyundais. After a near-perfect Sunday, it seems harsh to say that, but it was just rotten luck on the Friday that kept him back. But despite it being rotten luck, it's very clear that Tanak is going to be rapid over the next couple of events. This is his phase of the season. And this story is something you see overall. Whilst Evans made some gains, Neville still has a 15-point lead over Evans in the standings. Lloyd Tanak is only 6 points behind Evans, despite not getting any points on Saturday. Likewise, Toyota gained on Hyundai, but I think it was only 3 points that they gained on Hyundai in the manufacturer standings, which just shows the struggle that it's been for Toyota over the course of the Sundays, and the struggle it's been for Elfyn Evans. And given the way the 2024 point system works, that is a big deal, because whilst the picture would be slightly different to use last year's point system at the halfway point, Neville would only have a 5-point advantage over Evans. Tanak would still be 1 point behind Seb Ogier. It still demonstrates that Evans hasn't made the most of the Sundays. And obviously the point structure bodes well for Neville. It bodes well for Oit Tanak. But Evan still wouldn't be leading the championship. And that's even under last season's kind of points system. Because if Evans had performed a bit better over the course of Sunday, saved a bit of his tyres and pushed on the power stage, he probably would have gotten that deficit on Neville wiped out. If he'd won the power stage, he would have gained 5 points. Neville would have lost 1. He'd be ahead of him on even the last point system. And then we'd be having a bit more of a debate over, does the point system have a big impact? But those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.